Hello and welcome to the AI Biz Hour with Andy and John. Today is Thursday, March 27th, 2025. The end of the month, we're going to be done with the first quarter, which is happening faster than I can believe. And I see that co-host Andy is here and he's getting on board. Got the co-host profile, and we are now sponsored by a wonderful company which helps out businesses all over the place. They are called Virtual Synergy Inc. Virtual Synergy Inc. is sponsoring the AI Biz Hour with Andy and John. What if you could free up hours in your day without sacrificing productivity? Successful entrepreneurs know the secret. They delegate. If you're looking for an employee to handle your administration, there's no better employee than a virtual assistant from Virtual Synergy Inc. Virtual Synergy Inc. connects you with skilled human virtual assistants who handle your admin work, emails, and scheduling so you can focus on what truly matters, growing your business and focusing on new business at all times. Let me see if I can get Andy up here. No hiring stress, no overhead, just expert support on demand. Now, let's see. I keep on we're having a little technical difficulties here. Apologize that with everybody. Please bear with us. I keep on trying to invite our co-host up, and there we go. Andy, how are you doing? Sorry about the delay there.
As a speaker, you can hit me the co-host, and this is episode 259 because tomorrow is our 100th episode. So this is actually, yesterday was 258, today is 259. So it's a wonderful Thursday. Thanks for joining, everybody, and looking forward to it.
Yeah, I keep something's X glitches out at times. I keep on pressing to ask you to come up as co-host, and for whatever reason, that's not seeming to register it. So I'm going to continue to work on that, and I'm also trying to do something with my other account on my desktop, and X has been glitching a little bit. It dropped Justin's show this morning.
Yeah, I dropped it a couple times, actually.
Yeah, so I am going to see if we can get you up here, Andy, as co-host. And I think you're gonna have to get you as co-host. You're gonna have to drop out, or you just want to stay there as speaker.
Nope, I'll drop out and come back. I'll be right back.
All right, sounds perfect. So today there's quite a bit of AI news coming to us. I don't know who here has been who's gotten the code for Manus. That's what I would like to know. I know a couple people who've gotten the code. I have not yet, and I actually use 3 email addresses. I guess I'm going to try some more this weekend because I know a lot of people who've been doing some wild stuff with it. And I have created through um I have created, let's see, and now it's not giving me the option to do what I want to do to get Andy up. So I'm going to hold on for 1 minute. I've got to do something here with the space to make sure that the space does not drop out. And there's always something new with X spaces because it is a work in progress. So hold on 1 minute here, please. All righty, finally, we got Andy on as co-host. Apologize for that inconvenience, but X has a mind of its own and does what it wants to do when it wants to do it. So, Andy, how are you doing? Now you're in the right position.
Well, I'm always here to help, so that's the right position for me. I mean, I make sure everybody, join the startup circle, follow John, follow the AI Biz Hour, and go in, repost the space, send stuff out, invite your friends. This is the episode 99, and tomorrow is going to be episode 100, which is, most podcast spaces do 5 or 10 and then they quit. We're rolling up close to number 100, which is tomorrow. It's a great accomplishment, John. I mean, you've done a fantastic job.
But well, I wouldn't be here without you, Andy. I was gonna do a space, and I said, "What time is your space? I don't want to do two spaces at the same time." He said, "Join me," and so the reason why I'm here is with you, and you. I think that we complement each other in many ways, and there's no way I could get into certain knowledge spectrums about a lot of information that you have that I will never have. Do you want to get what do you want to
Useless
do right now?
information mostly. A lot of useless information mostly. But yeah, I'm
Well,
good at Trivial Pursuit most of the time.
say that. But so, hey, shall we talk about Manus? Now, have you gotten the code for Manus yet? I haven't. I know people here who have, and
No,
I'm
I
very jealous.
anybody's got a tip or can give us an invite or send us a referral. Yeah, please. We will put you at the top of the list of whatever you want to talk about. But I don't have it yet. Me either.
I hear people are selling that code for like $1,000 or more, and so I would imagine it's quite worth it. Um, so I will get in. We've got Juan Carlos. Did you Juan Carlos? Did you get the Manus code? I'd be really anxious to hear. Juan Carlos, how are you doing?
Pretty good, yeah. So, real fast. I mean, I know that some people have already done it, and maybe they didn't just keep doing it. But you can go to Manus, and at the very bottom where it's like what's your invite code. It's like there's like two or three other options. I forget now because I've been using it for the last. I'm looking right now. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 chats with it. Initially, it gave me three different tasks to start out with, and I just filled out a little application. And now I'm only permitted to do one per day, and it's based on a 24-hour cycle. So that's the only limitation. But after those first three that I get one per day. I've been using it for over a week now. It's definitely game changing. I'm a little bit worried for a lot of people who are not sharpening up their skill set, because this is what could actually replace jobs. Because I'm sure that there's better agents out there, and maybe people are programming a little bit more fine tuned and niche related stuff. But as far as like the general tool, if Manus was available the same way that a Chat GPT subscription is available, it'd be game over for a lot of people.
So I'm on the Manus website. Where I mean, I submitted my three emails. I'm going to continue to do it. Did you submit the email and then get the code, or you were saying there's something at the bottom of the home page? I'm here at it's media inquiries, contact, terms and service. Please inform us, Juan
I'm opening
Carlos.
up a private window because I can't see because I've already got the like I'm already subscribed. But let me figure out how to get a private window open here, and I'll go ahead and look at it and send you a screenshot.
Awesome. Yeah, and if you could put in the purple pill, that'd be really great. But I know somebody who created a marketing report that was like 200 pages, pretty sophisticated, high level manufacturing, and did it with Manus. But yeah, then he wasn't able to use it again for 24 hours. But he was totally blown away. And why do you think it's going to be take like what attributes about it differentiate it from other LLMs and other experiences with different platforms?
So I just wouldn't call it an LLM in general. I mean, it's definitely a full service agent. I didn't get a 200 page, but I do have a 118 page SOP document based off of, I want to say it was like a 15-page document from ChatGPT that I had running and working based off of a lot of different stuff that I already do. It took that and then turned it into 118 pages of content because I'm going to be hiring these VAs through Virtual Synergy. Sorry. Um, and so I'm going to be using that to give to the VAs. I didn't have to generate that document now. That's 118 pages that now I can move forward with my business. In terms of with ChatGPT, I run probably 30% of my business through ChatGPT, so it's already familiar with all of my SOPs and all of, everything else under the sun. And so I just simply took that, gave it to Manus, it gave me this. Now I can give that to a team of VAs. It shortens a lot of different steps, decisions, workflows, and quite frankly saves a lot of time that uh, I don't even know if I would have done that. Like personally speaking, I don't know if I would have sat down and created a 118-page document, even if it was as important as an SOP. I would probably spend the money to outsource that activity, spend time to interview with somebody for like 2 hours, and they do it for me kind of situation. Now I got to do it with Manus with just an invite code, and it was for free. So it's definitely a game changer.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've been creating a lot of libraries for my prompts and everything like that. And I bet you if I threw everything that been creating and stacking up in Google Docs into Manus, it could, yeah, it could turn it into an actionable event. Is that kind of the way it goes?
I mean, it completely handles the task. I wish that I could show you. I did just post a screenshot. It doesn't look the same as when I was looking at it. I don't know if it was on mobile or if it's they've just patched it, because before I just posted in the little purple pill there where I've got it showing where it verified that I'm a human, but where it says get started and then already activated sign in, there was a button that was underneath that said to like apply here or apply now, and I did that and I got accepted in like 5 minutes, not even kidding. And that was about over a week ago. But as far as like what it does for you, um, for one, it provides so like that 118-page document, which was the SOP document, that was just one document. That was literally just one document out of for that particular chat. Let me actually see. Uh, boom. And then documents. So I'm looking at, oh, also in the same chat, I was like, hey, what if I wanted to make this into an app of some sort for people? And it was like, oh, I can do that too. I'm looking at over 23 different documents in this chat, and only one of them was the SOPs. So as far as like what it can do, I mean, it's literally an entire research team. It's like deep research with ChatGPT or Grok, whichever one, times 100. It just is.
Andy, do you have any questions?
What exactly what was your use case you put in, and what was the request that you made? So do you remember what you asked the use case it would be to execute?
Yeah, I'm looking through the chat right now, going to the very top. It literally takes close to 30 seconds to actually get to the top of the chat. Like rapidly scrolling, if that means anything to anybody. But the initial thing that I gave it was the entire 15-page document that I had already made inside of Notion with the assistance of ChatGPT. And I simply said, take the following information about my business offerings and create any of the deliverables described, improve what you can, and give me a set of standard operating procedures to scale this business. Additionally, create full proposals for each service outlined. So it did do that. It highlighted the services that I presented, and all the different tools, and then it kind of repackaged some of them. It created two full, refined proposals for those services, and then in addition to the single document that was 118 pages of my total business standard operating procedures, it created four specific individual SOP documents. One of them for onboarding, one of them for creating additional proposals in the future, another one for actually handling the consulting sessions, and then the fourth one, I forget what it was. Um, just email follow up procedures and basically so yeah, it's four separate SOP documents. I want to say each of those were about 10 to 15 pages, and then it was on top of the 118 total SOP document. Those four additional documents were not included in that larger one, because it was actually, I got a chance to ask after the initial inquiry to follow up, and it was like, oh yeah, I can give you some extra stuff for that too. So even with the one task, you're able to kind of follow up with it. At certain points, you will run into an error that says that the context window has gotten too large, and it will have an error basically satisfying the request.
Cool. Do you remember what you asked it to do so that it would give you the access?
Yeah, so in the purple pill, I posted the picture. It looks different. They must have changed it.
Gotcha.
Underneath where it says already activated and sign in, there was another link that was like apply here or do whatever here now. But that was over a week now, so I can't be the only person who got lucky and did that. And they keep saying that they're
Mm.
running into performance issues and everything. I did see the first hallucination today, where it it said that it did something and then it didn't, and then when I uh asked it to verify, it was like, yeah, I can see the 13 elements here, and I can see the 17 elements here, and it gave me a list. And because of the incorrect labeling of the elements, where like literally the first one skipped titling it number one, and then the 13th entry was titled number 17 for some reason, and so it like psyched itself out basically. But that was the first hallucination that I've seen in the last over a week using it.
Thanks. That's awesome. I'm going to use that. I got another email I'll try.
Yeah, and I actually went to Grok and it said scan all of Reddit to find out exactly, how to fill this thing out to get it. And it mentions, to put in your LinkedIn, um and actually I went over to the Manus account on X and commented on a couple of their posts and what have you. But so we'll see. I mean, it really does sound like a game changer. Are you running it locally on your computer, or you're just typing in queries into the web page platform, Juan Carlos?
If you're asking if I somehow got access to the open source code and I'm running it on my computer, I definitely did not. This is just through whatever, through the website. Like I said, where it says try Manus, that's where I clicked, and then the button was just different. But yeah, I mean, it's just running through the browser, just like ChatGPT. Um, it's fantastic though. Like I said, I would be worried for anybody that can't do the same quality of work that this can do, which is really impressive work. Like this is a lot different than just a regular chat GPT result. A single document produced by Manus as part of the entire output, which is usually like 10 to 15 different documents on average, with no matter what your inquiry is. Um, One of those documents is 10 times the value of a single chat gpt response. So it's like you ask it one question, you ask Manus one question, and it's like you get 20 different responses from chat gpt all at once, except they're actually all highly qualified.
Yeah, I mean,
Wow.
the um the AI agents that I've been creating have I'm able to add libraries to them and add some tools to them where they can scan the internet and stuff. And so they've produced really significant reports, but I showed one of the reports to somebody who did that 200-page report for with Manus, and it was I thought my report was very high level and impressive, and the, he said that the Manus went into like the next level. So that's very interesting. I think it'd be really wonderful to be able to put one of these things locally on your computer. Um, just it's getting close to that time, and I saw a post about it today in terms of having your own one that you train. That we yesterday we talked about security, and we talked about sensitive information and what you want to put and what you don't want to put on there. And pretty much all of us being on social media are breaking a lot of rules in terms of what to do and what not to do as far as security goes. So, and then but putting yeah, I try to scrub all my content before I put into any of these LLMs that you know but I have my stuff on LinkedIn, and it has pretty much my job history and things like that. And so we really you don't know what you know until you know it. And so we really don't understand the ramifications of what all this means until 5 or 10 years from now. And but, like I was saying yesterday, the only people that are going to turn out to be the grand wizards of all this are probably the Amish, because they probably have no footprint at all. Any thoughts, Andy or Tim? I see that you're up here. Tim, how are you doing?
Oh,
I'm good.
sorry.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I think security is. First of all, if there's already been 3 different companies that have described they've got a quantum computing chip, which basically would be able to absorb and solve all of the math problems there are, period, in everything, including breaking every password, redundant pair, every two-factor authentication. It's going to solve everything almost instantly, so that the entire structure of how we quote unquote think about security or implement security measures and all the stuff we talked about yesterday, if a quantum computing chip is actually put into practice, any operational sense, then it's like the movie Sneakers, where they have the box to unlock everything anytime they want. And if you haven't seen that movie, you should go back and watch it, because that's kind of where we are. As far as AI doesn't have a bias. It will answer whatever you ask it. So if you get one of the uncensored models, you can ask it any kind of question. What's the chemical formula for? Fill in some terrible thing, and it'll give it to you. How do you create it? It'll give you the list of things and the ratios you need to combine them. But just as an example, you can do that. The idea of security is rapidly becoming a imaginative space, kind of like the gated homes in the United States. We have gates where people push a code and then they drive through and they feel safer that they live in a quote unquote gated community. But the truth is, if the Amazon drivers and the police and the fire trucks can just drive through and drop off your stuff and leave, everybody else can too. So it's just a matter of making you feel better, not necessarily actually being security. And I think security is rapidly getting to that point.
Yeah, I speak to my father a lot about this stuff. He's a physicist, and still publishes papers and all of this, and been working on artificial intelligence for like 20 years. But he's, scientists often rail against other scientists' ideas. He believes these quantum chips, they're only really solving a small fraction of what's needed to have an actual quantum computer, and he believes that they're very far behind. Yet, David Chalmers, who's one of the forefront guys on sentient artificial intelligence, thought that maybe it would never happen or it'd be 100 years away. But now he's starting to believe that consciousness is probably a fabric of the cosmos, and that there's always some level of consciousness in anything that has the ability to take data and reformalize it and analyze it. And so he was very much saying that the idea of a sentient computer would probably never happen. But now he's saying, well, maybe there's they can't quantify it, and they can't measure it, but he's saying maybe there is certain levels of it happening. So you got to take everything with a grain of salt. But yeah, it could be, well, it's not going to happen, and then all of a sudden it's like here, and that will change everything. You're absolutely right on that, Andy.
Yeah. So, go ahead, Andy. You wanted to respond.
I was just going to say, Tim, please.
Yeah, so Andy brings up a good point in terms of quantum computing. So here in Vancouver, there's actually a quantum computing startup called D-Wave. So they are a particular class of quantum computers, which is quantum annealing. And so they solve a very specific problem set, which is a min-max problem optimization. So, but to Andy's point, that is a concern, and a very real concern, in regards to cybersecurity, insofar as once true quantum computing is achieved and is available at scale, then essentially it becomes a very real security vulnerability issue, whereby using the power of quantum computing, you can basically decrypt all of our standard encryption protocols. Computer scientists are working on this very issue. There are quantum resistant forms of encryption, including Shor's algorithm and Grover's algorithm. So there are computer scientists and advanced researchers developing basically encryption 3.0, to go with, let's say, Web3, something like that. So yes, these are very real concerns. And I also wanted to just chime in regards to like John's statement about like scrubbing data before putting that into third-party AI foundational models. Basically, everything that we use, like ChatGPT, Grok, we would call those foundational models. They're generalized to perform like many tasks. And so I again, referencing our conversation yesterday, I do highly advise people, not just for their personal use, but also for business use, to, as much as possible, anonymize information that is private and sensitive to you as a person. For example, if you're like, hey, I'm feeling this way and I don't know, I just want to ask someone that I don't maybe have any friends in medicine and my doctor's too busy, whatever. Or I don't even have a family doctor, which is a very real issue, at least here in Canada. So, you want to be careful about querying AI writ large, and again, foundational AI, because they do train on your data. And the same can be said about business too. So don't be like, please write me a business proposal. Here's all my cards on the table. This is how my business is doing. This is my struggles. Well, you're giving that information to the, ChatGPT or whatever. Are they going to like, exploit you personally? Probably not, because we're probably too small for them to really care or matter about. However, that information is stored, right? And fundamentally trained. They will continue using and ingesting the inputs that you have for their benefit, right? So that other users, customers will be like, oh, wow, like ChatGPT or whatever AI foundational model of choice you use, are like, you'd be like, let's say I was the previous user, and of course it's not just me, but like, a million other people using it for personal or business reasons. And then you, being the millionth and one person, would benefit from that derivative work. And you'd be like, wow, this is wonderful. Like, compared to maybe half a year or a year ago, it's like ChatGPT is like producing like not just a 10%, it's like a 10x better like business proposal document, for instance. Well, guess what? It's been trained on everyone else's input data, right? So that's something to bear in mind. And then actually, I need to disappear because I have a conference in 30 minutes. But to kind of share a few like thoughts for today, I put it on the chat, and that's just something for all of you to potentially just think on. And if it's helpful for you personally, or you think it's helpful for others, feel free to share that, which is a post I made today in regards to go-to-market strategy. So just flying through that, number one, don't spread yourself too thin by trying to launch more than one product at a time. I can't tell you how many pitches I've seen where entrepreneurs just have a poor product specificity. It's important to be able to clearly parameterize and articulate what your product does. How does it solve the problem at hand, right? That the market is willing and able to pay for, right? And oftentimes the temptation, especially for first-time founders, is to be like, we're going to launch this product and that product and that product. It's like, no, unless you have like, tens of millions or billions of dollars backing you up, you're spreading yourself too thin. Again, Amazon started off by selling one and only one product, which was books. Number two is, if it isn't broken, don't fix it. Keep scaling until you get into that growth phase of your startup. I've seen many founders who, and I understand the grind because I used to be an entrepreneur myself, right? And scaling the business and selling products and expanding customer base, the scaling problem takes years or even decades, right? And so sometimes I notice founders get sick and tired of solving the scaling problem and building a very solid cash flow, and they start diverting precious resources on a fundamentally new product line that's just like has zero relationship with the previous product. And what that does is it has a net effect of spreading, capital and human talent across two products, one which is successful and the other one which is starting from zero, which is, any entrepreneur worth their salt knows is no easy feat. And so, just something to think about for co-founders is like, you don't want to over leverage your operating capabilities of the startup and therefore like stunt your cash flow and make your existing customer base unhappy. And that segues very nicely to my third and final point, which is listen to your customers and iteratively improve your product. If, as they say, cash is king in business, then your customers are your queens, so to speak. Listen to them because they keep your startup afloat. And take with grace, right? Their feedback, positive or negative, the constructive feedback, and iteratively improve your product so they actually feel heard, not just send customer service at them and just give them like warm fuzzy words, but like actually notice patterns and like tangibly improve your product. So those are my 3 points for today. Hopefully that's helpful, and thanks for the mic.
Thank you, Tim, man. Really appreciate it. And that was a great post yesterday, and this is another great post today. Recommend everybody go to the Purple Pill and take a look at what Tim has put together. Very solid advice. Yeah, we all only have so much energy and during the day and so much time, and where you put your focus is really important, and the outcomes are determinative of that energy and time and focus. So good advice. Juan Carlos, how are you?
Good. Yeah. So just wanted to say one thing. So in the Purple Pill, I dropped just some progress on what's going on with Manus right now. I just decided to do like a live test for y'all, and just kind of keep track of it a little bit. But on top of that, and also it's not done yet. Right now, it's still on a task 1 out of 8, and I'm gonna say it was just on 11 minutes on this one task. So it's still got to go to the other 7. Just kind of show y'all the amazing power of it live, and just how it's so amazing. One thing I did want to kind of say in regards to what Tim was saying. First and foremost, that post was great, super solid advice, and then everything else that you were saying about the AI component, really great stuff. But I personally just had a disagreement, and this is just me sharing my perspective and opinion in terms of I think it was about you saying, giving all that information. It kind of, gives the data to the LLM, and then, it preps the data for the next person after. And so technically speaking, you kind of, almost lose ownership or even like originality of your idea, and such and such. And I agree with that to an extent. The part that I disagree with is just the fact that it matters. I think that in the next 20 years, we're going to see that happen more and more and more. It's a very old saying that there's nothing new under the sun, really, and I kind of believe in that wholeheartedly, especially with AI, where it's like at a certain point, there's not going to be really much that we can really kind of think up where it's going to matter too much of whether or not the AI can make a better proposal than you, or whether or not it can make a better SOP manual for myself better than I can. Like, at what point do we stop waiting or applying weight to that? Because like, how much does that actually matter when the beauty of it is what it just did is free up time for us to focus on new problems, new solutions to problems we haven't even uncovered yet because we haven't reached that level of efficiency. And that's the way that I think of it, where it's like I try to look at it from an abundance mindset, where AI is about to help us and sure replace a lot of stuff that we really just probably shouldn't be doing anyway. Let's solve the problems that we haven't even uncovered because we're not that efficient yet. So, and I'll leave it there.
Sure, thank you. I appreciate that. And just really quickly, because I need to get on the road, I appreciate that reframe. I do agree in that sense, and also the nuance. I guess where I'm coming from in terms of my concern is just our existing paradigm in terms of, and I'm not going to get into that, but our capital structure, capitalism 1.0, call it, right? So, fundamentally, some businesses, they do rely on, let's say, whatever their secret sauce is, right? And I know some startup co-founders, they're literally working on that very problem of like making it better, faster, cheaper, more reliable in terms of AI outputs to like write business proposals specifically for like acquiring like in the space of like government procurement, right? And so if that's fundamentally what pays the bills, employs the people, right? Employees, the 1066, the contractors, the co-founders, and it's just I'm not pointing out like what ought to be. I'm just pointing out what is. So points well taken, and thank you for that.
I mean, that brought in a thought to me in terms of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Your cognitive abilities are kind of stuck wherever you are in terms of if you have basic things taken care of, and then as you go up on the hierarchy of needs, your abilities to think at a higher level increase. And so I wonder, I mean, we have this one scale. Juan Carlos, I'd like to hear what your thoughts are. What is there's another scale that we haven't even gotten to because uh we haven't experienced what it's like to have all of these daily concerns kind of taken care of to a certain degree that was impossible before in terms of business and getting stuff done, and also being able to do it yourself without having to go to a group of people to augment that skill set.
I think Tim's right in the sense where there's an element here that's kind of tough to get into because I agree with everything he's saying. It's just like me personally, I put myself in the position of people where it's like there's plenty of stuff about what I do for a living that can be replaced, and it's just like okay, cool, but like what I'm doing today is much different than what I'm doing yesterday, and it's on me to make that happen. So in short, adapt or die. But there's a fundamental issue with the way that we kind of apply value towards our economic system of things, and it is it kind of I was talking with my wife about this last night. It basically kind of comes down to two things. And we can argue about this all day long, but like in my context, it comes down to two things: it's effort and access. People pay you for the amount of effort that it required for you to acquire whatever product, skill, value, whatever that they're going to exchange dollars for, or the fact of the access that you have by way of whatever measure of methodology that you did to acquire it. But it's as simple as they don't want to go through the same process that it took for you to acquire it, or they simply don't have the access. That's kind of what a lot of our value matrix is based on right now. Whereas what AI is producing and providing for us is more of an opportunity to be just synthesizers. And so at this point, it's like, like I said about the SOP and the proposal example that Tim was bringing up. Like I said, I don't care because my business isn't designed off of making people's SOPs for people, right? Or proposals for people. But there are fundamental services that are kind of based off of these tasks that really could just be performed by AI. Any single person could pick up AI today and perform 70% of the jobs that are on the market that don't require some kind of physical skill labor. That's just a reality, especially if you add the element of give them 90 days to give it a shot and learn how to do that. Like, sure, maybe not everybody could be their own tax accountant, but with 90 days of daily using AI around that specific task, are, are you sure about that? So that's the way that I look at it. I know that sounds cynical, but I believe that that's a very abundant reality because should we be doing taxes? Should we be lawyers? Like lawyers are probably important, but the more lower level stuff, like the paralegals and stuff like that, like sure, like if you're a paralegal and you're like worried about AI taking your job, like I get it. Be the better paralegal, or better yet, don't be a paralegal. I don't know, but I think that that's a positive thing, not a negative.
No, no, I mean there were all types of jobs that came around due to the Industrial Revolution that didn't exist prior to that. 20 years, 30 years, mechanics, car mechanics, electricians, whole sorts of things. So we're not really sure what those job titles are going to be, but people are very adaptive. I think the idea that like we're just going to fold up the tent and go under a tree and curl up and just stop doing what humans do is kind of not realistic. Andy, you have any?
Not to interrupt you, my apologies. I'm so sorry. I'll ask this one little question here when it comes to AI is going to take everybody's jobs. Who's going to pay for those jobs? Like that's where I believe that all of this is a lot more abundant than we give it credit, because like we're gonna have to have new jobs, because we're gonna have to have new ways to make money, because we're gonna have new ways to have money in our pockets to pay for stuff that's being put on the shelf. You know what I mean? Like unless UBI is gonna be the end all be all solution, which that's not sustainable under any kind of current paradigm, there always has to be consumers. And therefore, there always has to be some form of job or otherwise monetary system. So I'll leave it there.
I love your energy. The other day I saw Andrew Yang post, "Hey, we need UBI immediately because everyone's going to lose their job tomorrow." And I got really offended and pissed off because I mean, like, people need purpose in life. And also number one, it's not anything close to realistic that all of this is ready for prime time. It's I mean, today I at the earlier thing this morning, what I've been doing, which is kind of a fun experiment. Next time you go to Google and you go to Gemini or any of these LLMs, say, do not on the output, put no synthetic data. You cannot speculate, and everything source and put a link to it. And you will find that all of a sudden your outputs are quite different because there's so much stuff that they're just putting in synthetic data and they're just making stuff up and they want to make you happy. So the idea that, these things are something that you can count on a regular basis at this point, they can do amazing things. Yeah, they can do by rote stuff, but still, I think what was it? Robert Scoble today was talking about hallucinations still being a problem. So I know that there's people here. I mean, Sannon's doing work where it's getting, predictable outcomes on a regular basis, but it's a limited scope. So yeah, and the idea that we're all going to need to be on the dole because these things are going to take over everybody's job. I just I'm not down with that doom and gloom. I just don't think it's productive or helpful. Any thoughts, Andy?
It's an interesting conversation for sure. Part of what we have to do is just kind of roll with it, right? It's difficult to determine what we don't know. And that's kind of what we're talking about. What we can do is say, this is my objective. This is the current path to get there. Can these tools help me go there faster or with less steps? We can do that evaluation all the time. If we try to determine the risk profile of going forward with those steps, now you're starting to play chess without moving the pieces. And so you have to think about the next 3 or 4 steps, and each step creates another set of possibilities, which then each one of those steps create another set of possibilities. And it only takes 1 or 2 steps away from the first piece in an uncontrolled environment, right? We're not talking about chess, which has a limited set of movement and a limited set of pieces. When we're talking about these kind of things, we're talking about unknown unknowns 2 or 3 steps away. It becomes infinity. You can't do it. And so the only thing you can probably do is kind of the example I gave yesterday of it's 100% secure, but unusable. It's 100% usable, but 100% insecure. You have to pick what your tolerance level is, and then you can use that as your measurement to say, this is a good enough solution now. If it breaks, I accept the fact that, things are going to happen, and we deal with it. Otherwise, you can't do the infinity risk management of everything. It's just, it doesn't work. You have to pick logical choices, create some assumption boundaries, and then validate, run your risk profiles from that, and then check your assumption boundaries to see if they're valid or not. And then every time you redo this process, here's the problem. People get it. They do that. They do exactly what I just said, except they do it once or twice. I do it every month. Every one of my projects, like I have currently have delivered 4 projects for all of my clients, 4 of them on time, under budget, 30 days ahead of schedule. And I have 30 days to complete all of the closeout contract, blah, 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 before we actually decommission all of the on-premise systems. So if you reiterate each step in that process, identify your objective, identify your assumptions, run your risk profile inside that box, monitor the edges if it goes outside the edge, check your assumptions. And then every month when you do your evaluation of your risk profile of your projects moving forward, you just go back again and say, these were the assumptions. Are they still true? Is there any new information? Is there any difference in information? Is our calculation off? Is our trajectory, our burn rate, our blah, 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 whatever, right? If any of those things changed, go back and start at the assumptions and validate again the whole process. It is annoying. It is redundant. It is very grinding. It is very difficult, but it is critical for success. And AI, to bring this all home, AI can do all of that same thing in a rapid period of time with a high degree of precision, not perfect, but a high enough degree of precision that you can say, okay, you can just do a boundary test. If I change this assumption, does that change the end result boundary? No. Do I change this? And you just put up the side boundaries of the lake, and then you walk through the middle. And as long as the lake doesn't collapse on you, you're okay. And you just constantly check that. And which is why leadership is always, okay, to practical terms, that's the technical way of doing it. The practical reason you can prove that that's the truth or not is because most organizations fail to do any one of those things. And the result is the disastrous assumption that fails, and then the whole thing collapses. And then, of course, when you do the lessons learned and you look back and you say, how come you didn't do that every month? If you did it every month, you would have recognized it 2 or 3 months ahead of time. You would have seen this parameter going outside of your boundary, and you would have at least been able to identify it. Whether you could have changed it or not is a different thing. But the fact that it happened and you didn't know, that's on you because you didn't check your boundaries on your profiles every week or every month or whatever your periodic risk assessment is. But running the stuff that we're talking about in the way that we're talking about it is all about determining an objective, building a plan, putting the team in place to do the plan, and then as leadership, stepping back and then watching those parameters. Are we going the right speed? Do we have the right people? Do they have the right tools? Is there anything else I need to worry about or think about? No. Okay, fine. The next morning, are we going the right speed? Are they going the right direction? Do we have the right people? Do they have the right tools? Is there anything else I need to be concerned about? Anything else changed? And if that's why dashboards are so important, because a dashboard will give you an early indication of change. Like yesterday when I was talking about risk profile, you want to be in a room. All you do is watch the room for a minute or two, and you will get a baseline of how everybody's acting. As soon as somebody's different in that action, now that is what you focus your time on. You can't focus your time on everything else. In the same way, that's the method I just described. I think you should probably, if you've never done this stuff before, take this recording, go back and listen again, because this is 30 years of experience telling you this is all of the scars that I have, and this is how I make sure that I don't get any more, or the ones that I get I know are coming, and they're little. They don't chop off my arm. They just, slap me on the wrist. They don't fire my executives that I support. They only give them a, hey, did you know? Yes, I knew. Andy told me. Okay, fine. Right. That kind of thing. Go back, get the recording, go back and listen to that, chop it up, put it on tape. I'm probably going to go back and grab this part. I'm not even on camera. I'm going to go back, grab this part, take the video, and then put it as a, TikTok or Instagram or back on X or whatever. It's going to go somewhere, because that stuff, what I just described, is the failure of leadership at every single level. And if you can fix that piece, you can make an organization successful, regardless of where, big, size, or impact it has on the world. That's just the way it is. And I will I will die on that hill because I have, literally been shot on that hill, been kicked off the hill, been rolled down the hill, and then have, people throw rocks on top of me and try to smash me. And yet, because of what I've done, the way it works, and that I actually just know the whole process, I'm able to survive and continue to provide value. So, okay, that's it. I'm going to go back on mute. I see Tim raise his hand. So there you go.
Andy, that was wonderful. So many gems there to unpack. Unfortunately, I'm on the road. Thankfully, it's good enough weather I can walk to the conference, but I must chime in. Yes, at the end of the day, to be a star player and to build a star team, we must focus on A+ level problems, because the problems never end. I don't care who you are, what you call yourself, an engineer, a CEO, a doctor, a lawyer, a programmer, a homemaker, everyone solves problems, right? And to reference like John's statement about purpose, everyone wants purpose, and that includes work, right? I think when we find meaningful work, however we define meaning for ourselves, right? Noble, ethical causes and meaning, part of it is manifested through work, right? And so being able to zero in on what is the biggest problem I need to solve for my company, as a entrepreneur, or as a consultant, or as an employee, right? Like, what is the biggest problem that I can solve, right? Maybe not immediately today, but I can start to tackle, bit by bit, right? It's just so important. And I agree. I think here's the thing. Andy's sharing with us decades of experience, and it shouldn't be taken lightly, is my point. That at the end of the day, sometimes we do have to learn through mistakes, right? Our own mistakes, because we're navigating through the Johari window of the unknown unknowns. But why not learn from the mistakes and the lessons learned of others, right? Turn decades of experience into days of, know-how, right? But why I'm very specific about using the word know-how is that in and of itself, in terms of Andy's advice, one must understand boundary conditions for that as well, right? Some advice is applicable for certain situations and some not, but by and large, what Andy just offered is applicable, in my considered opinion, basically across all situations. And so, there are some truths that are true, localized in the micro time scales and for very specific instances and use cases. But then there's some truths that are essentially universal truths. So I think what Andy just articulated is something approximating that.
Absolutely. I'm going to give the mic back over to Andy. I just want to let everybody know, please take this space, repost it. I don't think we have 3 people reposting it. There's a lot of people that come here on a regular basis. Please repost it. Follow the speakers, follow Andy, join Andy's newsletter, join my newsletter, join Andy's space, join my space. And if you're come here on a regular basis and you're getting value out of it, please support it. So Andy, follow up on what Tim was saying, because that was very powerful what you said.
But well, first of all, I appreciate it. I've decided. So you guys get to share this, and tomorrow's our 100th episode. And just as a quick hip, I've got 5 minutes left. Make sure that if you need a virtual assistant, you're considering one, or somebody who does, go to Virtual Synergy, our sponsor. We're proud to have them as a sponsor. They've been doing some great work for people that we know and trust, and so you should consider them for that. I've decided on my own personal content that in the past I've only described what to do and then asked people, hey, if you want to know how to do this, reach out to me, hit me up, send me a DM, and we'll work on that. I do personal consulting and other things. I've been doing large project consulting and organizational change and executive coaching for decades. And that's primarily what I do. And but here's the difference now. I've decided that I'm going to describe what and why it works. And if you want to know how, hire me. I'll do it for you, or I'll show you how to do it, or I'll teach you how to do it, right? But if you want to know how, but here's why. Okay, here, all the things that I just mentioned, here is the reason why. Because things always fail. Parameters, assumptions always change. There is always change to the environment. When you say, if I offer a $20,000 coaching session with Andy, someone's going to buy it. Yeah, unless all of a sudden the dollar drops 80% and then nobody has enough money. New parameter, new information, that changes your whole plan. Do not get stuck. Do not live in cement. Be like Bruce Lee, flow like water. I'm a martial artist. I've been a martial artist for a long time. My family's martial artists, and too many people fight figuratively and literally with their feet in cement. They plant themselves and decide, this is where I'm going to die. It's like, yeah, nope, I don't do that. And it just is a little thing, right? My brother-in-law and I trained our sons and all the boys in the martial arts school in the woods about every other month. And what we did is we played airsoft. You shoot little plastic BBs at each other. It doesn't really hurt. It doesn't, we wear masks and all that. But here's the point. The point is, what you think happens and what actually happens have to align for you to be effective. And what people think is hiding, until you hide from me stalking you, you haven't hidden. Unless you find me when I'm hiding from you, you can't find anybody, right? Because we have now my son perfectly 100% comfortable in the woods. All of the kids that we trained for all the years in the martial arts school, and I was instructor for about 10 of those years. My nephew is now a police officer. Trust me, our friends and family are good. The corollary here is that you cannot plant yourself in one position, in one ideology, in one structure, in one method, in one plan, and say that's all there is. It might work great for 20 years, but then something changes, like AI or COVID, and then all of a sudden your plans, they're not effective anymore. They don't work. And so you have to figure out a way to constantly learn, right? That's why I love Ross and Tech in Schools and Sharon and all the stuff that they're doing, and Zoo and Lloyd. Oh, I love Lloyd. And all of you guys are here that are amazing, and John Carlos and Sandon, of course, and John, which is tremendous. You're here learning how to do something else. You're willing to expose yourself to these different ideas. Because if you go to business school and you listen to me lecture at a business school, it's going to sound a little different than it is right here. You're getting the raw, unfiltered Andy here. This is I have scars. I don't want you to have them. I'll share with you so you can hopefully avoid them, or they'll be little scars instead of, big, giant, go to the hospital and recover for 6 months kind of scars. I'm talking about emotional, physical, financial. They all hurt the same amount. And if I can help you with that, I'm going to help. So in the future, you're going to hear what to do and why you do it. If you want to know how to do it, reach out to me, and I will either show you how to do it or you can pay me to help you do it. So anyway, that's all I have for today. This 99th show. Come tomorrow. We've got a good show planned. We're going to try to invite things. We may even have a super famous special guest tomorrow. I'm not for sure yet, but we're checking on that. Anyway, we will see you all very, very soon. Thanks again for listening. And that's the end of the first hour, John. And I'm going to hand it over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Andy. Very helpful. And of course, today we have our sponsor, which is Virtual Synergy Inc., and they do virtual assistance for scheduling emails and other admin work for your business, so you can devote your time to sell. So that's our sponsor for the day. I would love it if somebody and Juan Carlos has had a conversation with them. We're gonna be interested to see how that that unfolds. I see Sharon is here, and I see Alex and um, Fabio. I haven't spoken to you in a long time, and Francisco is here, and I saw Hoops here for a little bit. Sannon and Tim, of course, and Zoo and Ross, Tech and Schools, Lloyd. Ross, I would love to, if you want to grab the mic, if you have the time, I'd love to talk to you a little bit, kind of see what's going on with my AI tutor and Tech and Schools. Talk about that a little bit. If there's no hands, then I guess we're going to close up a little bit early. I don't. I've got a lot to do, and I'm just not feeling it. Not, I don't. I don't know. I don't really feel like rambling too much today, or not really at all. We do have. There is this really good article about Magus. It does seem to be a game changer. They're talking about how it's multi-agent tasks, and I think that it can be done with Magus, which is really a game changer, especially for infrastructure with inside of companies. And it seems that a lot of companies are kind of using these LLMs without advertising or talking about it too much. So that's pretty interesting. And I see that Lloyd and Sharon and Ross have asked to grab the mic, so we'll see if one of them is going to raise their hand or just talk out loud and see. Sharon, how are you doing today?
Hey, John. We've been in a couple spaces together today, huh?
Yeah, today's got yeah, it's
busy day, yeah. Well, I hope you're well and everyone else. The Manus thing. I'm just wondering, if you have one of these tools that you have to pay for, I think it's probably still for free so everybody can test it. And you're not really sure what's going on in the back end or what's happening, and you can't fine tune your agent. I don't know how good these agents are. I build scripts in Python. I do a couple of automated tasks, and I will probably stitch them together in a workflow and automate them at some point. But I'm just asking myself, is John Carlos, he's still here. So did you ever try it, John? And I know that John Carlos was saying something earlier that he's trying it right now. So I would love to get your guys' thoughts. How often does it break?
Yeah, no, I've actually been trying it for over a week now. It started with just the three tasks that I was able to play with in the beginning after the basically not even the invite code, but I just applied for access and they gave it to me. But after the first initial three tasks, I've been able to use it every single day. It's just based off of a 24-hour timer, which is triggered based off of when I actually use it. Um, it I have only had two issues with it. Both issues have occurred today, actually. One of them was with I was able to actually inquire and prompt the agent of a previous chat from yesterday. And then right now, I actually posted stuff in the purple pill down in the chat, and I started one task just to do a research over my niche specifically, and I'm actually experiencing an issue right now where it's stuck on the first task because it like kind of breaks down the task that I request in general into like basically eight components, and it's usually always eight for some reason. Um, but yeah, it's stuck on number one. It's been doing it for 41 minutes now. It's basically stuck reviewing through some website. I tried to prompt it to see what's going on with it, and it's not responding to me. So I'm probably about to refresh and see what happens. But today is the first time that I'm actually having any issues with it. It's been fantastic otherwise. And it's been absolutely mind blowing, honestly. I will be surprised if it continues to remain to be free for very much longer, or even if this kind of like a temporary access even remains accessible for much longer.
yeah.
I'm sorry, John, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say that in my experience, they give everything out for free, and then if there's real value in it, the most likely it will get rug pulled, and the price will be increased. Go on, Sharon.
What are so typical tasks that you have been giving it the past 2 weeks?
Just over 1 week, but I wouldn't call it typical. I would consider myself a power user of AI. I'm talking with AI for 5 to 7 hours a day, and have been for since late 2023. I actually started paying for ChatGPT. I'm sorry, late 2022. I started paying for ChatGPT in April of 2023, and I've been using it ever since. That's my favorite model. It's pretty good with the memory component of things. But when I find something like Manus, I'm like, oh man, this is incredible. So I wouldn't call it typical, but like the flagship example that I would give right now is that it gave me um, 118-page SOP, standard operating procedure manual. And so with Virtual Synergy, the sponsor of the show, I'm actually going to be hiring them and probably two different VAs because I want to be able to have a team of VAs. They've already indicated that they can make one of them a lead of the operation, so to speak. But I'm going to be giving them the SOPs. That way, I don't have to, you know, quite frankly, just spend my time communicating with them because that's not what I'm paying to get out of the service. I'm not paying to talk to them. I'm paying to get work out of them. So if they were employees, it'd be a different kind of relationship, and that's just the reality of the situation. So an SOP document, it was like the first thing that I thought of as far as like what I would need to pull the trigger on that. And so that's one thing I would able to accomplish in that single task, the task of just like, hey, I need SOPs about my business. I gave it a 15-page document that it then generated 118 pages from. Um, that was only one document within that single task. So that single task was that particular task. The document was 118 pages, but that was only one of, I think it was 14 other documents inside of that task, four of which were full SOPs of specific components of the business, including onboarding the clients to some of my packages, the proposals, and creating new ones in the future, email handling, and then it was like one other component as well. But as far as like the full breadth of what that single chat gave me, it was entirely, I think, close to 200 pages. Now that I think about it, John, where I don't know if maybe your friend was saying 200 pages for the full output of the documents, because that does actually make sense for me. But as far as like a single document, it was 118 for a single document. As far as total output of a single chat, it was about 200 pages of a document. I put them into Speechify and I've been listening to them, and I've broken them down into certain components and kind of extrapolated some different directions from them. But anyways, to wrap this up, fantastic stuff. It's incredible. I've said it earlier in the show that I would be surprised that this remains to be free, but also I would think that if this does remain to be accessible at all, like even if this comes out to be like they're like, oh hey, we're gonna start charging $200 a month for it, I'm buying it tomorrow. I would even probably consider buying an annual package if they allowed for that, because it's that valuable. That's my early impression so far. Obviously, it could break later on, but so far that's what it's doing for me.
Well, I mean, I don't use Chat GDP anymore. With the nice thing with the AI tutor with Tech in Schools is that I get access to all the LLMs, and I was able to. I wrote a book, and I was able to compare Claude 3.7 to OpenAI 1 to 4, and then to a couple other models, and just the writing was so far off the charts better with Claude 3.7 that, like, ChatGDP, it just throws in a lot of superfluous stuff. And so I'm wondering if your impression of Manus is so big because you've been using Chat GDP, which I don't even look. I mean, I don't use it anymore. I just totally dropped it because the writing's really difficult. It's not great. There's a lot of garbage in there in terms of just kind of fluff words. Is that one thing that you're noticing with Manus? Is the writing's clear and sharp as a razor, where it doesn't have any of that extra just nonsense that's just to fill in space?
I don't have the experience that other people have when it comes to the quality of writing that they talk about. I've never had any really poor issues with GPT, OpenAI's models. 4.0, I've had a bit of a qualm with when it comes to like the actual writing quality in comparison to the other models. But that's where I give it the information that's relevant to my business. So it's trained in everything around my specific business. So I think we're a lot of issue that people run into when it comes to the output that they give to ChatGPT is that it's not specific to what they're actually doing. It's more specific to the prompt or the series of prompts that they've given it to be able to get whatever output they're aiming for. But whereas I have mine, and I also clean out the memory usually like quarterly, basically like 3 months, to make sure it's updated, make sure it's refined, make sure it's actually accurate. But I give it everything, like I was saying earlier with Tim's comments when he was here gracing us with his knowledge. Um, I'm of the opposite mind. I give ChatGPT basically, obviously within reason, but it basically knows everything. Short of the proprietary stuff, which I don't have much. It's an information business. I'm a consultant. So I've never really had that issue. In terms of the comparison between ChatGPT and Manus, and if Manus is that amazing because I'm primarily using ChatGPT, I would strongly disagree with that notion only because of the amazing outputs of Manus, in the sense where the only time where I've been able to get any kind of comparable output to what Manus is producing is to actually ChatGPT's new 4.5 model, which I thought was underwhelming at first. It is kind of impressive. It's able to handle context a little bit better. It's able to handle the depth of output a little bit better. So I appreciate that. Um, but uh, what Manus does is I'm sorry, but it's just not an AI. It's not an LLM, at least in the traditional sense of like Claude or ChatGPT or any of those, or Grok even. I use Grok a lot too now, but Manus is like having 10 different LLMs run at one time, and it's like two of them working together basically. That's the best way that I can describe it. It's an incredibly different output.
That's funny. Oh, sorry, go ahead, John.
Oh no, Sharon, you go ahead. I was just gonna say.
Yeah, I was wondering, as you said, it's still for free. So if we really had 10 LLMs, really working on tasks, I mean, LLMs are token based, right? That's going to be a lot of money that we have to pay. But no, that's super interesting. Thanks so much for sharing. And you
Yeah, I
have
don't think it's
tasks running right
sustainable.
now, right? Do you have tasks running now?
Yes, but to your point, I don't think it's sustainable. I don't know if anything like this is sustainable for any kind of
Right?
appropriate cost that we've seen right now.
And also they need as much data as possible. So they're, yeah, of course, to give it away for free, grab as much data as they can, and then we'll see what happens after that period of time. But that that's why I think is going to be is the way things are going. I could be wrong, but if you can get some LLM on your, privately in your own home that you're kind of building up over time, and then building up the computer capacity, I think that's probably the best way to go. Then you can actually have something in case all of a sudden they rug pull all of this at some point, which is a possibility because nobody has control over what they do. Well, is there anybody that would like to add to the conversation here today? Today is Thursday, the 27th, 2025. We are going to have our 100th episode tomorrow with Andy. And I'm looking through I called it the AI Biz Hour family, people that come here on a regular basis, such as Shannon and Juan Carlos and Sharon and Ross and Zoo and Fran and Nicholas and Julie and Udanu and Alex. There's a couple people here that are oh, of course, Moshe. But I think we've had, over the course of the 100 episodes, we've had quite a few people that we've interviewed, and so I think we're going to go and try to honor our guests, because really the space is only as good as the people that show up and that share, and we're really looking forward to that. We've got our Discord channel that's going well now, and Jason, who's not here, has put it together, and we've got a bunch of people that have joined that, and it's going to get a little exclusive, which is going to be good. People are going to have to prove their mettle to get in there to show that they are part of the club, which is excellent. And I see that Francisco, hey, how are you doing today?
Today it's been a crazy struggling day with fucking bureaucratics here in Malta, online bureaucratics that are crazy. You know, there is one specific website that you have to type in a lot of, because they don't allow to copy and paste, and you have to type in, and the the experience time of the fucking cookie is 10 minutes. So it's like crazy. Bureaucracy, it's a pain in the ass.
Does it then freeze your computer and so you can't do anything, or is it's not that bad?
No, it's not that bad. It's just, old websites that probably were developed in the 90s and haven't been updated since then. So it's kind of crazy.
So what projects are you working on now? Just out of curiosity, if you can talk about them at all.
Well, right now I'm moving my company from Spain to Malta, and that's why I'm dealing with bureaucracy. But the problem with my clients is that all of them, I have NDAs and so on, so I can talk very little about. I can talk high level specifics. I'm working with uh, several ERPs, data data workflow systems that using AI to develop workflows based on information that is having, but I cannot be very, very specific about them.
What about it? Are you kind of setting yourself up for future abilities with AI? I mean, in other words, are you kind of doing little things on the side that are like, oh, I see where it's going, and so I'll have agents ready, or I'll be positioned ready for what's going to come down the pike over the next 12 to 36 months or 5 years?
Since I'm focusing more in engineering and infrastructure, I don't focus a lot on the specific applications. And in the sense of the baseline infrastructure for artificial intelligence, besides, couple of improvements in some models of neural networks, there's nothing much new. Okay, MCPs and so on, but even MCPs are not that new. They they existed before some other tools similar to MCP. Just MCPs make the interaction between models a little bit more easier and intuitive.
That's excellent. Yeah, I mean, the one nice thing about this space is I feel that people have I ask a lot of questions of people, and the reason that I do is to really find out, who they are and what they're doing, so other people in the space can kind of understand who's here. And I want people to have the room to kind of, talk and express themselves. I really, I don't have much patience for just random gobbledygook. We have, only limited time and bandwidth, and so I think it's really nice for you to share with us what you can. And there's, I guess, have you found any good information through spaces from other people?
Couple, but to be honest, not much. Because uh, there's a lot of philosophy talk around AI. Everyone is around this. AI is going to be conscious. AI is going to take over the world and launch nukes to the to Russia or to the United States and so on. So there's a lot of noise in the community, and in the technology perspective, and there is there is not there is not much changes. Of course, there are a lot of applications that are being developed. I was having a discussion online the other day. I think we commented this before, that someone was discussing with me about this vibe coding and so on. And I was having a discussion with someone that was saying, no, I don't care about security and performance on my vibe code, because after this is only for MVP, and when I go to production, I will hire some developer to review my code. And I was like, that's more expensive. I mean, it's much more expensive to review code that's done by someone else or by an AI, rather than hire a developer to actually write you develop your code. That's something that people is not understanding yet, that once they go to the market to find a developer, reviewing code is much more expensive, and at the end maybe you will pay double, because you need to pay for reviewing, and if the code is bullshit, you need to pay again for generating the code again. So this is a very funny issue that is going on right now.
Yeah, and so if you're cleaning up a mess, you got to clean up the mess and then rebuild. Is do you think there's, like, I guess there's when it gets to the real world and people are paying for a service, there are going to be expectations, and so probably a lot of things aren't going to make that hurdle, huh?
Yeah, exactly. When people go to the market and start asking for for quotes and so on specific projects, and some they will realize that these AI tools for generating code uh, they are designed to be a tool for engineers and developers, and of course that will help a lot in order to improve improve performance, in order to speed up the development process. But I don't think they are meant to be used by regular non-technical or not software engineering people.
And just I'm not that's not my world, coding world. And just curious, is it often that you're working with teams, or is everybody kind of alone doing their own thing? And if so, how do you judge who you're working with? I mean, in other words, or how do you make the experience the best experience? Because everyone has different skills, different experiences and backgrounds.
But you mean in my company, my team?
Yeah, or if you ever get in a
Oh, no.
project where there's an existing group that you have to work with.
Yeah, well, sometimes, of course, some clients, they have their internal teams that I have to work with them, and at some point you need to develop some social skills in order to avoid conflicts and so on. But no, the team I work with, it's I know them from long, and I just I mean, sometimes I don't even need to talk. Just very basic instructions, and they know perfectly how things go.
So how long have you been working with the team that you've been working with, and how long did it take you to kind of build that up?
Years. I mean, the youngest one, it's been 6 years already.
The youngest, the youngest.
The youngest, sorry, the most recent, the one that has been less time with me, it's been 6 years.
Wow, that's a long time. That's a long time for for a business that's moving so fast. That's excellent. Sharon, you have a question?
Yeah, I really enjoyed what Fran had to say. He had numerous things that he said there that should humble everybody or also just calm everybody down. There's going to be more work, I guess, than we imagine probably at this moment, because a lot of people are worried I'm going to lose my job. I'm not going to have anything to do because AI is just, we got Manus AI now, right? Manus AI, John Carlos can confirm this, right? It's about to take over the world. No, let's just keep the jokes aside. I do believe that certain tasks will probably be replaced in the long run. We're still not quite there yet, because it's not just that the AIs can do it or not. It's also, do the companies have the money to spend to buy the army of bots or robots or whatever you have? They're not going to be that cheap, people. So that it's going to take a while, right? If you think about when the internet was established, and we still have local businesses, right? I mean, a lot of people were like, oh my gosh, the internet is here now, and you local businesses, you guys are not going to survive, right? They probably all have a website by now. I do believe that you need to have some foundation or some piece of business online, but you can still survive with a local business. So it's going to be the same now with AI. There will be certain tasks that will be replaced that might just be redundant, and the person doing it might most likely will find something else if it just pays attention, that, and adjusts. With coding, I mean, so the beauty that we have, so I don't code. I still don't code. I can't. But I've built applications, and I've built secure applications. I've built very good applications and stable applications. The reason for that is, first of all, that I have AI by my side that can help me out. And I failed a lot before I got to where I am today. I had to learn a lot. And I have developer friends that are supporting me along the way and making sure that I understand what I'm doing. And they hold my hand partly, not crazily like it was before, because we do have AI. So I do believe that people will find this tool very useful for them to grow, to understand more, and to learn maybe a skill that they haven't touched before. I think that that's really wonderful with AI. But I do agree with you there, Fran. There's a lot of things. It's multi layers that play a role when it comes to building something and an application. And that's why John and a couple of other people here in the space are regularly participating with the ITT and TSI. They teach us all these things. So I think it's going to evolve. People are going to learn faster. They're going to learn quicker. They're probably going to be cross-pollinating and learning all kinds of fun stuff. I think we can accelerate, but it's on you. So the way you use it, so garbage in, garbage out. And if you're not using the tools properly, you're probably going to fall flat on your face, like with every other thing in the world, right?
Absolutely. So, I think that it's almost 1:30. So I think I'm going to bow out of here in 2 minutes, and we are going to talk about our sponsor for 1 minute. They are Virtual Synergy, Virtual Synergy Inc. If you could free up hours in your day without sacrificing productivity, successful entrepreneurs know the secret. They delegate. If you're looking for an employee to handle your administration, there's no better employee than virtual assistants with Virtual Synergy Inc. Virtual Synergy Inc. connects you with skilled human virtual assistants who handle your admin work, emails, and scheduling, so you can focus on what truly matters, growing your business. And everyone is here because they all want to grow their business. They want growth. They want to have some fun. They want to be involved in something that's engaging. And there's no more engaging field right now, I think, than AI. Whether it's real or not, it's a discussion that everyone's having. It's on the horizon. It's in people's mind. It's in their consciousness. It's in the front of the brain. It's in the back of their brain. It's in that little reptilian part of their brain when they wake up in the morning. This looming excitement or this looming threat. What is it? There's day and there's night. There's the checkerboard square. There's all kinds of things that have all kinds of subliminal effects within our minds. And so we're all trying to sort this out, and we're doing it together, which is a good thing, because the worst thing that can happen to a human being in prison is to be put in an isolation containment and to be stuck by themselves, and they go mad pretty quick. So humans are creatures that need a community, and that's what this is. And we're not all trying, we're getting through this portal, which I believe is excitement. And there's only one way to choose, and that's to be optimistic about the future and to see opportunities. And so that's why we do this space on a regular basis. And some days our energies are off the charts and we're like synced in and we're ready to go. And some days, we have a day. So, and tomorrow's a big day. I've got to actually do a lot of work to try to figure out something fun for tomorrow, because I hope that all of our regulars will show up. And we have got a bunch going on with the space. We have a Discord. If you are a developer that thinks you've got your chops, DM me about getting into the Discord community. It's going to be a bit of a hurdle. There's going to be a hazing. There's going to be some tests. We're not allowing just anybody in. It's only people who actually can do what they say they can do and have a certain level of skills. And because, that's really better for the community itself. And we feel that this is what separates us. And then we have people that are coming in here who are venture capitalists and business owners and what have you, and all the people that are really looking at AI in business in a way that matters, that's relevant. I mean, yes, we can talk about extrapolate about what the future is going to bring, and we're all going to have robots, and we're not going to have to think about this, that, or the other thing, because they'll do this, that for us. Yesterday we had a discussion, what's it going to be like to have a robot in your house that's going to be hearing everything? Is it going to be locally sequestered, or is it going to be attached to the internet? I mean, we could go on for days about these things, and this is our 100th show tomorrow. And so it's fun to sit around with people at a coffee shop, or at a barbecue in the backyard, to speculate about the future or what's going to happen. But we're all living in the reality of today, and a lot of these things just aren't there yet. And so it's good to be in a space like this, talk with each other, see what's really going on, and understanding the difference between what is and what isn't. And I was actually thinking about this today in terms of the news. And it's why is there such concern about the narrative? Because if what you believe to be, in esoteric circles or whatever, belief can be, but if you truly believe in something, it has a better way of manifesting. So it is important, I think, that we all have a belief in something that is life-giving, because you know what, life's our it's important. It's important to the living life. So, and the rest is always there. And for some of us, maybe we've done this a trillion times, who knows? But that's my story, and I'm getting to ramble a little bit. So it's 1:33. If anybody has any burning concerns or anything that they want to say, please grab the mic. Otherwise, I think I'm going to bow out. I've got a bunch to do today. Thanks for showing up, and really appreciate it. And I hope that you can get here tomorrow for the 100th episode with Andy and myself at the AI Biz Hour with Andy and John. And we will see you all tomorrow. And thank you so, so much. Have a wonderful day.